Hello students, let us move on to next topic, that is formatting of menus. Okay, so all of you know now what is a menu, is it? So you can see an example here. In a desktop system you have got a menu and it is having again sub menus also, and same way this menu can be displayed in the mobile as well. Okay, see how it is being displayed on the mobile. See here, the topic here is formatting of menus. So that means how you can organize the menu on the screen. Okay, it may be on the desktop or mobile or any tablet or any system it may be. Okay, how you can organize the menu that you want to see here. Okay, so here first let us see, we have to follow certain guidelines for formatting the menus. So you have some of the points like consistency, display, presentation, okay, organization. So all these are the main topics you will be studying in the formatting of menus. So let us start with consistency. So what do you mean by consistency? So that means you may have in a when the menu is being displayed, you may have certain properties. Okay, the display properties has to be same in every screen. Okay, for example, you take an menu here that is being displayed on the desktop, and again you have got a sub menu. Okay, and suppose you finish off one task. Okay, maybe you click a particular choice here. Okay, and you close this menu. Okay, again you want to retrieve back the same menu. So when it is being retrieved, again when you are going to access the same menu again, it has to be displayed in the same manner as it was displayed earlier. So that is called consistency. We have to maintain a consistency in the screen. Okay, in the desktop screen or in a mobile phone or any of the system devices, it has to be displayed as it is. Okay, in the same manner. So that is called consistency. So now for the menus also we have to provide consistency with users expectations. Okay, and also provide the consistency in menus. Okay, a consistency in what sense? It has to be in formatting, including organization, the organization of the menu and how it is being presented to the user, and also choice of ordering. Okay, so ordering in the sense it may be in the numbering order or in the alphabetical order. Okay, so you may have a general order also. Okay, so there are different kinds of ordering, so that will be studying later, but in all sense you have to maintain the consistency. And next is form phrasing. Okay, consistency has to be maintained in phrasing, including titles also, choice descriptions and instructions. So titles, whenever it's being displayed, okay, once suppose here you have the products. Okay, so under the products you have smartphones. Okay, so this is the title here now. Okay, and next you have the title as laptops and tablets. Okay, so this particular titles also has to be maintained in same manner when it's being displayed in any of the screens. Okay, so it is the consistency has to be maintained for titles also, and also for the descriptions of your choices. So what it describes. Okay, maybe it's saying always the menu choice descriptions will be in a single word, or it may be in double word, not more than that, but you have to maintain the consistency for the descriptions as well. And also whatever the instructions it is going to give in the screen, so that also has to be maintained the consistency. And next is the consistency has to be maintained in choice selection methods as well, and the navigation schemes. So whenever you move from one page to another page, okay, there should be a consistency that has to be maintained. Formatting of menus, next point you have, or next guideline you can say here, that is display. If continual or frequent references to the menu options are necessary, permanently display the menu in an area of the screen that will not obscure other screen data. Okay, so what is the meaning here is, if you want the menu permanently on the screen. Okay, when you want it permanently on the screen, so when you are using the particular menu in a frequent manner or in a very continuous manner, then you need that particular menu permanently on the screen. Okay, so that is one of the option. Okay, how you can display a particular menu on the screen. And sometimes you don't need the menu in a frequent manner. Okay, that means if you only need it occasionally. Okay, if only occasional references to menu options are necessary, the menu has to be presented on demand. Okay, so that is the next point. So suppose if you want a menu in a frequent manner, you have to display it in the display it permanently on the screen. Or if you want it in an occasional manner, then if you need it on the screen, then it may be presented on demand. Okay, for example, on demands, maybe you may have pop-up menus, or sometimes pull down menus also will be presented on the screen. So that is when you need the menus occasionally, you may use it. Okay, so that is another point. So retrieving the menu, for example, it may take certain people's memory also, okay, to do certain tasks. So critical options should be continuously displayed. Our next guideline is presentation of the menu. So how your menu has to be presented on the screen. So ensure that the menu and its choices are obvious to the user by presenting them in a unique and consistent structure, location or display technique. So that means when you are having a menu, okay, so there may be number of menus that is displayed on the screen. Okay, it may be aligned in a line horizontally, so or a vertical manner. Okay, so when it is being aligned, your menu has to be very unique in nature. Okay, it has to be differentiated from the other menus. So you have to have, again, in the menu when you are having, it has to be consistent with the structure, it has to be consistent with the location and also display technique. So if the menu is being displayed on a particular location, okay, it has to maintain the consistency again. Okay, whenever the user is going to retrieve back the same menu, it has to be presented in the same location itself. It should not change the location of the menu. Okay, and how it was presented earlier, okay, in the same structure it has to be presented. So that is maintaining the consistency in the display or presentation of the menu. And next is ensure that the other system components do not possess the same visual qualities as menu choices. Okay, so you in a menu, when you are having a menu, you may have alternatives again, and the alternatives, under alternatives you will be having number of choices. Okay, so this menus, whatever it is showing, okay, it has to have the some of the visual qualities. Okay, so this visual qualities also has to be maintained in the same manner, or it has to be in a it has to be again in the consistency has to be maintained. Okay, so that is about presentation of the menu. And next point is how you can show the menu on the screen. Okay, so you can enclose the, or how you can present the particular menu on the screen. Okay, you can enclose it in a box. Usually we will be representing the menu in a kind of box. And for example, if your menu is in a white color area, okay, or you say your menu is being displayed as a white color, okay, it has to have a contrast color background color. Means see, if your background color is white, you cannot display the menu in the same color. Okay, so contrast colors has to be maintained when you are presenting the menu. Next point or next guideline is organization. In organization we have first point as provide a general or main menu. Okay, so you may have, when a menu is being displayed, you may having a top level menu in a hierarchical menu scheme. So this will provide a consistent starting point for all the system activities and home base to which the user may always return. Okay, so you may have a top level menu. Okay, for example, general menu or a main menu, you can say. For example, here you have file, home, insert, design. So these are the home page, or you can say a user will always return to this particular option here, is it? So you always, your menu will not be displayed completely. Okay, you will be going back to the first main title. What is that? You may have file or home, insert, design, layout. So this is the main menu, you can say. Okay, then under that main menu you will be having sub menus also, but our concentration here is first what you have to provide. When in the organization, you have to provide a general or main menu. Okay, next, how you can display it. Okay, display all relevant alternatives and also only relevant alternatives, or you can say here you can delete or gray out the inactive choices. So that means a menu should always provide relevant alternatives and only relevant alternatives at the point at which it is being displayed. So including irrelevant choices. So sometimes you may include irrelevant choices also on the main screen. What happens if you include all the irrelevant choices in the main menu? Okay, it increases your learning time. Only that will be the point here, is it? So it will increase the learning time. So simply do not include all the relevant irrelevant alternatives. What is necessary, that you have to present on the screen. Okay, all relevant alternatives can be presented, and sometime what you can do is you can gray out the inactive choices. So how you can do either, see for example here, when paste is being selected, okay, you are going to gray out cut and copy option here, is it? So this is now inactive choice. Okay, even if you have under the menu you have certain uh, options here, so paste, cut, copy. So when paste is being selected, you are going to gray out the other option. Okay, so this is now inactive choices. So can you delete this completely? Can you delete the particular option here completely? So some user may think that eliminating the inactive alternatives is the best option because it helps in faster access time, is it? But in other studies, so they have done the studies later, and the study concluded that eliminating the inactive choices sometimes it may lead to a problem also. Okay, so uh, some of the researchers, they suggest that deletion does not provide an advantage to the expert users of keyboard driven menus. Graying out seems to be advantageous in case of pointer driven selection devices. So that means suppose if you are using keyboard driven menus, okay, so if you are using for selection of the menus, you are using keyboard, suppose, okay, that time you have to go on clicking or pressing the keyboard every time, even if there is no action, particular action that's being taken place by the inactive choices. Okay, but if you're using the menu mouse driven or pointer driven selection devices, okay, then even if you have inactive choices that is being displayed on the screen, there will be no much problem. Okay, so nowadays in graphical systems, we follow grayout approach for inactive menu choices. So that means if any inactive choices are being displayed, it is just grayed out. Okay, graying out will help in presenting to the user. So that is one of the point here. So if you have irrelevant alternatives, you can just gray out that particular option. If you want relevant alternatives, that means if it is necessary, if the particular option is very necessary, then you can display it all on the screen. And next is match the menu structure to the structure of the task. Okay, organize the menu in such a way that it has to reflect the most sequence of steps to accomplish frequent or likely goals. So your main goal is to complete the task. Okay, so in that manner you have to structure the particular menu. Okay, so which is much important, that has to be very placed above on the screen, or you can say the first option, the priority has to be given in such a way that, okay, the most frequently used task or most particular action which is going to be completed has to be placed in a particular order. Okay, and minimize the number of menu levels within the limit of clarity. For websites, you generally restrict to 2 levels, requiring 2 mouse clicks for the fast performance. So here, number of menu levels also has to be counted here. So one thing is, suppose here you say here you are having a home menu. Okay, under this menu you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so you have got depth here, is it? Again, suppose if you click certain option here, again you may be displayed with another menu. Okay, sub menu also may be displayed. So that if you have more number of sub menus, then you may have the breadth for the menu, and if number of choices are more, you may have more depth you can say. Okay, so how many times, how many items will be placed on one menu, it is called breadth, and how many levels it will consume, it's called depth of the menu. In general, more choices contained on a menu, the less will be the depth, and the fewer choices on the menu, the greater will be the depth. So the advantage of, so there is one advantage and disadvantage also going for breadth and depth. Okay, so for example, the advantage of the menu system with greater depth and less depth. So for example, you have less depth but greater breadth. So that means, see here, you can say that if you have only two, after home you have only got two options here. Okay, cut, copy, and maybe paste. Okay, only 3 options, think that. Okay, now you have less depth. Okay, again, suppose this cut option has got one more action. Okay, so that it has included a breadth. Say for example, it has got a cut, has got again one more submenu. So that time it increases the breadth now. So if suppose in your menu, if the depth is less, what are the advantages? So you'll be having certain advantages. If the depth is less, you can have fewer steps to reach the particular objective, and also you may not go for longer paths, is it? And also it is very easier to learn the relationship of the items. Okay, if the depth is less. But there are certain disadvantages also. If the depth is less, if there are certain disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? Your menu will be more crowded, and it reduces the clarity of the choices, and also it may confuse the user, or you may confuse with the similar choices that has been displayed together. So that is the disadvantage thing. And next thing is the advantages of greater depth. So for example, you may have increased the depth of the menu. Okay, for example, this home, for this menu you have increased the depth, maybe number of choices you have given here. Okay, so that is the thing. Then what will be the advantage? So advantage is less crowding on the menu. You will be having less crowded menu and fewer choices that has to be scanned, and easier hiding of inappropriate choices, and less likelihood of confusing similar choices. Okay, so that is the advantages. If your depth is greater, there are certain disadvantages also. What may be the disadvantage? You have to go longer step, is it, for to reach a particular action or reach a particular object, you may have to go for longer steps. Okay, and you may have to learn all the list whatever is being displayed. There may be difficulty in learning the particular relationship between the elements, and more difficulty in predicting what lies below. Okay, so when it is being, when the depth is more, you may not be knowing what exactly may be displayed in an order. Okay, so you may have difficulty in predicting what lies uh, one after the other, and higher error rates will be there if there is a greater depth. So what you may be thinking, how your menu has to display. Okay, so whenever it's better to have 4 to 8 choices per menu screen. Okay, whenever it's being displayed, you can go for 4 to 8 choices at a time. And some studies have concluded that you can contain up to 64 items also if your organization is in a logical manner. Okay, if you have logically grouped items, then you can go up to 64 choices, or else if not that case, then you have to limit your choice up to 4 to 8. Okay. So what may be the conclusions of the studies? Okay, so some have done the research on this, how much your how your menu has to be organized. So based on the studies, they have got a final conclusion that minimize the number of levels within the limits of clarity. So what may be the clarity? What is clarity? Uh, the choices that is being displayed cannot be segmented into logical categories. Then you have to confine them into 4 to 8 per menu. So for example, if your choices cannot be segmented in a logical category, you cannot categorize in a logical manner, then you have to limit it up to 4 to 8 choices per menu. If you can organize it very well, okay, you can categorize the particular menu in a very logical manner, then you can have large number of choices. Okay, so that is the conclusion here based on the studies. So large linearly ordered well-learned listing such as months of the years or numbers, in that case it has to be presented in one level itself without breaking them into the menu multiple levels. So that means, see, every time you cannot split the particular menus, or levels cannot be splitted, because see, suppose if you are taking the case of months of the year. Okay, it has to be it has to be at least 12 options should be presented, is it? How many months will be there in a year? 12. So 12 months has to be at least shown. Okay, so you cannot limit it up to 8 in that case. And sometimes numbers also. Maybe you are taking a calendar, a date for example, 30 or 31 days you will be having. So that listing has to be at least. So this is a logical manner you have organized 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 31. At least you have to have that option. So every time you cannot apply this particular rule. Okay, so depending on the case you have to organize your menu. Okay, the depth. So you might have seen the examples of the menu choices whatever you get when you are entering the date of birth. Okay, how it is being displayed. You may have initially the number of days. Okay, number of days, at least it has to show up to 30, and then the number of months. Okay, it has to be 12, and year cannot have the limit there. It may be from 1990 to somewhere to 2020, like this. Okay, so you cannot limit there in that case. Okay, that is a general case we can say. So there you have certain logic behind it, so you can have the large number of choices. But if there is no logic, then you have to limit up to 4 to 8 menu in a in the particular menu. This is continuation of the previous point, that is organization itself. So we are going to repeat the same points again. If you have logical grouping of elements, then you have to limit the choices for up to 4 to 8. And if you have logical grouping of elements, then you have to limit the choices to 18 to 24. So that means, for example, if you are going to consider the number of months in a year, okay, how many months you have? 12. So there is a logical grouping of elements in this case. So then you can limit up to 12. Okay, and if you have no logical grouping, okay, you say general menus if you want to create. Okay, for example, you want to create a quiz. Okay, then you have created a menu there for having a quiz. So that time you may have the choices maybe 4. Okay, multiple choices, how many you'll generally give? 4. Okay, so this is, there will not be any logical grouping of elements in that case, so that's why we limit it to 4 to 8. Okay, so that is a thing you have to mention, remember here. And next is provide decreasing direction menus if sensible. So if you have multiple menus, then you have to decrease the direction of the menus that is being displayed. So one by one you are going to display and it will have its direction. Okay, so this direction also has to be decreased. And scrolling of menus, if you are taking about scrolling, do not have a uh, scrolling option in the menu, okay, that will hide certain choices, is it? So that's why never use the uh, menus with the scrolling option. Okay, so keep all choices visible to the user, so that is the best option you can say. Next is how you have to organize is, you have to easily restructure the menu, that is uh, menu should be always capable to be restructured by the user. So that is one more point you have to remember there. Next guideline is about complexity. Provide both simple and complex menus. Simple in the sense it has to have minimal set of actions and menus, and complex in the sense a complete set of actions and menus will be displayed. So for the novice or casual users, or you can say inexperienced users, you can have a simple menu that is being displayed on the screen. And if you are an expert, okay, if you are an experienced user, then you can go for having a menu with complete set of actions. Okay, you can have a bigger menu also, or complexity in the sense you can have a hierarchical menu. Okay, so that is complex, you can say. Simple menus will be displayed uh, in a single manner. Okay, a single menu will be displayed. Simple means. Complex means you'll be having sub menus there. Okay, so who will be using sub menus? If you are an experienced user, you can go for creating a complex menus. And next is item arrangement. How you have to arrange the items on the menu. Align the alternatives or choices into single columns whenever possible. Okay, as much as possible, please keep the choices in a single column itself, and orient your menu from top to bottom. Okay, so always we read from top to bottom, so that's why your orientation also has to be that format, that is top to bottom approach. And left justification has to be done, so that means every menu has to be displayed or left justified. Okay, so while you are going to present any PPT also, you are going to do left justification, right justification. But here in a menu, when you are going to create, you always remember that you have to have a left justification. So if an or horizontal or orientation of descriptions must be maintained, organized for left to right reading. So we all know that we are going to read from left to right, so that's why organize it in that same manner. The menu also has to be read from left to right. Next guideline is ordering. How you have to order the choices. So order list of choices by their natural order. Okay, so that means if your items have natural sequence, for example, if you see a particular book, okay, you have chapters in that, okay, or you say days in a week or months in a year. They have certain ordering scheme that has to be followed. Okay, so that is a natural sequence, so you cannot change the sequence in that case. So then you have to follow the natural order itself. Okay, natural ordering. For example, months in a year, you will be having, you will start from 1 2 3 4 like this. Okay, you cannot change the order in that. So then go for natural order. And for lists associated with numbers, use numeric order. Okay, for example, you have file size, okay, or bandwidth rate, or number of pixels. There you have got certain numbers in that, is it? So then you have to order it in the numbering order. Okay, numeric order we say. Okay, so that is another case. And then go for a numeric ordering there. And next we have the alphabetic order. For textual list with a small number of options, ordered by sequence of occurrence, frequency of occurrence, importance, and semantic similarity. So next we have, for example, if you have small number of options, for example, if you are going to use the particular menu, and frequently if you are using that particular menu, then you may have got certain importance for using that particular menu, is it? So then you have to group the particular options in a very smaller manner. Okay, and next is alphabetic order. So if you have large number of options that has to be arranged, then you have to go for alphabetical order. Okay, so maybe you have more than 24 choices, then you have to go for alphabetic ordering. Then so again, use the alphabetic ordering for long lists, and for short list with no obvious pattern or frequency, then also you can go for alphabetic ordering. Okay, you don't have any pattern there, suppose in the choices, if you don't have any pattern, then also, or if it is not a natural order, then you can go for alphabetic order. Okay, and you have to always separate the destructive actions from the frequently chosen items. For example, what is the destructive choices? Maybe you say delete or clear options, you will be generally having that options, always you keep it at the last. Okay, exit or delete option, so such things has to be kept at last. Why? Because if you accidentally click on that particular option, okay, there are chances that you may accidentally click on that action. So that's why we keep that edit delete or clear options or exit options, everything will be at last. So separate the destructive options or choices from the frequently chosen choices. And next is maintain a consistent ordering of options on all related menus. So there may be variable length menus, maintain a relative positions, and also fixed length menus also that maintain the absolute positions. And always do not reorder the menus. Okay, your menus has to be always static in nature. Okay, if you are having a dynamic menu, so that means if you are going to change the menu options regularly, it again causes the learning time. You have to learn that particular menu again and again. So that's why maintain a static menu which will not be affecting the user learning time. Okay, and next is you have to maintain the consistency between the menus also. So in the sense, a variable, you may have variable length menus and fixed menus. So in any cases, you have to maintain the consistency positions. Okay, so for example, exit which is always displayed at the last in the particular menu option. Okay, again if you close the particular menu and again if you reopen the particular menu, that exit has to be maintained in the same position. Okay, the position has to be maintained in the exact way, or consistency has to be maintained in where it is being located. Okay, so that is called consistency has to maintain in the menus as well. And remember that usually for example uh, the meaningful ordering is very much necessary to actually facilitate the search of an item. So why we need this ordering? Okay, ordering is necessary to facilitate the search. For example, you have here you have to open particular file. Okay, then you have to go for file and then to menu. Is it? So it facilitates the search of an item. And also it provides the relationship between the items. Okay, there is a relationship between the file and the open action, is it? So that's why it facilitates this or it provides the information about the structure and the relationship between the items as well. And also it provides the compatibility with users mental model of the item structure. So mental model of the user, you know that what is a mental model. So it will be totally different from the conceptual model of the designer. So mental model, based on the mental model we are going to design the menu, is it? So that's why there should be this menu ordering will provide the compatibility between the user's mental model of the item structure. And also it enhances the user's ability to, this ordering will also enhance the user's ability to anticipate the choices location. So you'll be understanding where exactly the location will of the particular menu will be when you are going to generally learn the menu. Okay, so you'll be knowing exactly which location you have to place the menu in the menu order. And remember that if you have any incompatibility with the user's mental model, it will also disrupt the searching. For example, you say we know that our mental model, all learned that months in a year, it's ordered in a certain manner. Okay, maybe you say you want to display January, February, March, April, and everything. And suppose if you change the order in that case, what happens? It will disrupt the user. Okay, while searching the particular option, it will affect the user's mental model, or it will disrupt the searching. Okay, so in that case we should not go for any alphabetical order. Okay, because our mental model is already trained for how many months we have in a year, and how many what are the months in a year, and what is the order in that case. Okay, it has to be displayed in January, February, March, April, like this only. Okay, you cannot display December 1st, then November, then February, like this. Okay, okay, you cannot change the order, or you cannot go for any other ordering in that cases. That's also has to be remembered. Okay, so that is about ordering of menus. Our next guideline is groupings. So here let us see how you can group the menus. Create groupings of items that are logical, distinctive, meaningful, and mutually exclusive. Okay, so what you have to understand here is items that are displayed on the menu should be logically grouped to aid learning and speed up the visual search processes. Okay, so studies have demonstrated that logically categorized menus are easier to learn and result in faster and more accurate performance. So next we have categorizing. So categorize the menu in such a way as to maximize the similarity of items within a category. Minimize the similarity of items across the categories. So you have to group the menus in such a way that you have to maximize the similarity of items within a category, and also you have to minimize the similarity of items across the categories. So you have to initially categorize the menu, and you have to identify the similarity of items within the menu, and you have to maximize the similarity of items within a category, and also minimize the similarity of items across the categories. And next point is present no more than 6 or 7 groupings on a screen. So you have to limit the number of groupings on a screen to 7 or 6 items. Okay, so the number of items within all the groupings should not exceed 18 or more than 18. Okay, so next point here is order the categorized groupings in a meaningful way. So our main intention is to here order the menu. Okay, orders may be in ordering, we have seen it can be in the alphabetic form, sequence of use form, or you can say how many times you are going to frequently use the particular menu. Based on that also you may be ordering the menu, and also based on the importance of a particular menu item, you may be ordering the menus, is it? And next point we have is if meaningful categories cannot be developed and more than 8 options must be displayed on the screen, create arbitrary visual groupings. So you have to create arbitrary visual groupings. That means how you can create a arbitrary visual groupings. You can use spaces or lines between the menus, so that it can be, you can see that when a user views a particular menu, he may categorize the particular menu in a particular group. Okay, for example, here you can see that here initially you have new, open, then open as, smart object, open, recent. So this is the particular menu you have, and after that you have got a underline. Can you see, understand the space between that two objects you have here, and also there is a marking, is it? So it categorizes the particular menu in a meaningful manner. Okay, or you are going to create an arbitrary visual grouping here. Okay, similarly after open, recent, you have other options here, that is closing. Okay, so initially you have all the open options here, and above, after that you have close options. So you have again categorized the close options here, is it? Close, close all, close and go to bridge, save as, all comes in one particular group. So that is how you are going to arbitrarily visualize the groupings. Okay, uh, and these groupings, whenever you are going to do, you have to have about 4 or 5, and don't create more than 7 options in one particular groups. Okay, so for example here one, how many items you have here? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, about 6. Okay, so here also if you are seeing about first option, also if you are seeing 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so it is below 7, you can say. So don't you can create a group of 4 or 5 items together, and it should not cross more than 7. And also you can have uh, equal sized grouping also is can be done. So that is also possible here. And separate groupings created through either wider spacing or thin ruled lines. So how you can do the separation? So how you can do is inscribing a line separator between the groupings you can create here. So you can see here file, you have file menu, and under the file menu you have got several choices here, and after a particular choice here, open choice you have, and then you have close choice, is it? So many close options you have, it is close all this. So to separate these particular two groups, what you have done, you have got a line separator. Okay, so groupings also can be done using line separator between the groupings. And next is provide immediate access to critical or frequently used items. Okay, so choices which are very critical or very important or which are frequently used it has to be easily accessed. Is it within a few steps? It has to be accessed. So you have to place the important or frequently used items on the top level or the highest level whenever possible. So for example, here if you are seeing new, open, all these options are regularly used or frequently used. Is it? So we have placed uh, this particular option in the above list. Is it in the highest level of the menu? Because it has got a importance. So this is about grouping. Our last guideline for formatting of menus is line separators. So where you can see the line separators. So for example, in this particular menu, file is a menu. Okay, main menu we have, and after the in the file menu you have got line separator. See, after this five options you have got a line separator, and again after 7 options again you have got a line separator. So why it's needed here? So separate the vertically arrayed groupings with subtle solid lines. So always we have to separate the particular groups using solid lines. Okay, don't use dashed lines. It may have a different meaning. So use a solid line. So separate vertically arrayed subgroupings with subtle dotted or dashed lines. So first, initially if you are getting a main menu, you can have a solid line, and if there is a subgroupings, okay, within the group, again if you have subgroupings, then you have to go for subgroupings. For subgroupings separations you have to have a dotted or dashed lines. Okay, and for subgroupings within a category, what you have to do is you have to left align the lines under the first letter of the columnized choice descriptions, and right align the lines under the last character of the longest choice description. So what is this is you have to left align the lines. So whenever if you are seeing the particular menu list here, all menu items are being left aligned. Okay, so that is the meaning here, and every first letter has to be capitalized in the particular column, and right align the lines under the last character of the longest choice description. So if suppose if you have a longest or the very large sentence, like, okay, so a longest choice description if you are having, then you have to go for right alignment. That is when you can do is when you are having subgroupings within a particular category. Okay, not the main group, if you are having subgroups. And for independent groupings, extend the line to the left and right menu borders. Okay, so suppose if you want a independent groupings that has to be kept in a particular menu, then you have to extend the line to the left and right menu borders. So here you can take an example here. Uh, Many graphical platforms always extend the line from menu border to the other border. So menu border means what? So if you see here, for the file menu, you have got a border here, is it? And another boundary is here. Okay. So always what you have to do for separators, when you are doing, you have to consider a line that is from one border to the other border. Okay, so take in the exam you can write any menu list, and you can show the example which has got the line separator. Okay, show the line separator which extends from one border to the other border. Okay, so why it's very important is it's giving a strong visual separation between the two related menu parts.